Hi, I'm Brian with Wampler Pedals, and today I want to show you something new. It's an amplifier. And you probably would not expect me to do an amplifier. You're probably asking yourself, why is Wampler Pedals doing amplifiers? I'll tell you. I actually am a huge fan of amps. I have been for a long time. You might know that I'm a DIYer. That's kind of where I came from. So the past 6, 7, 8 years, I have been toying around with different types of tube amps and just building stuff and tearing stuff apart, seeing what I liked, seeing what I didn't like. And what I actually found is that while, the plexis sound great and, the Class A stuff sounds great, like everything has a great sound. But what I never could find was the perfect pedal platform amp, the perfect amplifier that made any pedal sound good through it. With this particular type of amplifier, you may have a few pedals that sound great with that one, and then you plug into a different amplifier, and it just doesn't sound as good. So I didn't like that. I wanted to be able to use my entire pedal board, and every dirt pedal sounds great. So that's what I created. So this amp is, this one right here, it's mic'd up, is actually a 112. We have a 212 cabinet. We have a combo. It's a 40 watt amp, 6L6 based. It's fairly high headroom though, so that means it's not going to be super, super loud like you'd have in a lot of blackface style amps or what have you. So it's even though it is a 40 watt amp, it's got really good bass response. It's not super loud. I would probably say it's about as loud as a 20 or 25 watt amp. But it still works really great for just about any use. So like if you're a church guy, playing in a praise and worship band, it's going to work fabulous for that. If you're playing in clubs, it's going to work great for that. And the speakers I'm using are Celestion Creamback 65s. It just sounds, I just thought it sounded great with that amp. So one of the magical things that I really love about this amp is the bright control. Now it's not a presence control, it's not a treble control. It really is taking the normal on and off bright switch and giving it a bunch more ranges. So you can take a really bright guitar, like let's say a Stratocaster or something, and if it's too bright, you can simply just kind of dial that back, and it's going to work totally different than like a presence control or a treble control, because it really is dialing in some of that just chiminess. Or if you're using a dirt pedal, it's going to take away that fizz. So that's a really cool feature of it. The fat switch as well is going to it's going to give it a little bit of a bump in the mids. And even though the amp is really, it's really meant to be a little more neutral of a sound. It's not dull by any means. It's not. It still has that great chime that you expect from a hand-built amp. It just isn't. It's not like your traditional blackface style. It's not really based on any one certain thing. It's really made piece by piece, element by element, to work great with pedals. And so, for an example, I'm going to run through just a couple different pedals, and I'll probably play something really simple. But it's to give you an idea. So right now, this Telecaster, I'll throw on our Clarksdale, which is, it's inspired by the vintage 808 style, I guess you could say. It just has an active EQ on it, a few tricks up its sleeve. So let me set the EQ to neutral. I'll kick it on. Now, let me dial up that bright switch just a little bit and you'll see what I'm talking about. So it's really cool for taking a pedal that's pretty mid-range humpy and doesn't have a lot of high end, and you can just put in some chime to it. So very cool for that. Another pedal. Let's go with the Dracaris. Normally a high gain pedal. I'm going to run the gain back some and kind of do a little bit more traditional type of thing. So two totally different types of pedals drastically, not even in the same ballpark, but you can still make them both sound equally good on the same amp. You don't always find that with amps. Sometimes they work really great with one thing and they don't work so well with others. So like I was saying, any type of dirt pedal, fuzz even, is going to sound great through it. That's a very, like right now, it's really clean. Usually you don't get a fuzz that's going to get that sort of sound with an amp. So another cool thing about this amp is that a good friend of mine, Dave Friedman, actually helped me create the perfect effects loop for it. So it's a buffered effects loop, works great with any type of pedal that you'd want to put in there, generally like your delays and reverbs and time-based effects, of course. I generally don't recommend putting a distortion pedal in an effects loop, but it works great. I mean, it's the perfect amp for me. And like all the stuff that I usually do, I really start out from like building it for me, for my own personal use, with the hopes that other people like it. And this is no different. It's the amp that I've been wanting for years and years and years. Been working on it in the past, for several years now, just a little bit at a time, tweaking things, refining it, making sure it's right. It is hand built here in America. It's Turaport based. It's made by the same company that makes Morgan and the Friedman stuff. And it's meticulously put together. I know you'll love it, so make sure you contact your Sweetwater sales engineer for more information.